Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Thank you for joining us. We are kicking off another global transmission against tyranny and another hour of worldwide broadcast. It is Wednesday, the 9th day of May, 2012. Thank you for joining us. We've got big news, obviously, on the latest underwear bomber, the crusty underwear bomber, being a CIA double agent, and they thwarted it. Oh, my gosh. Thank goodness Chertoff's company's making billions with the naked body scanners, and they're saying they need them worldwide. Because I guess if anybody ever has an underwear bomb in a park, you've got to have naked body scanners to get in the park. Well, actually, that is happening in areas of England and the U.S., so it's here. If there's ever a threat anywhere, there's got to be a big government that you pay money to protect you. But you're not allowed to protect yourself. So we're going to be breaking that down. Also, that dovetails with this. You know, not only is Michael Savage banned from England, but now UK bans self-defense expert from entering country. Government wants a nation of cowardly, defenseless victims. Doesn't matter he doesn't have a criminal record. Doesn't matter he's an upstanding citizen. Former U.S. Navy SEAL and self-defense instructor Tim Larkin. Brits are getting upset about being robbed and raped, and the rest of it as the crime rate spirals out of control and as they're fed on by the populations being brought in that see them as sheep because they've been trained to be sheep. And they said, look, you're not allowed to come to England and teach hand-to-hand defense. You don't defend yourself. I've seen articles where a woman's being raped and stabs somebody in her own home, and they throw the book at her. You go to prison. You lay there and you take it. Because the criminals in government want a domesticated population. That article is so important and is at Infowars.com. Doug Hagmann is going to be joining us. He is an investigator, private detective, and director of the Northeast Intelligence Network and CEO of a multi-state licensed private investigative agency serving Fortune 500 clients. And he's got some amazing information that ties into all the martial law, Civil War preparations going on. So look forward to having him on the broadcast in the second hour today. Also, I've been planning on taking off a few days. So I had Mike Adams in here Friday filling in. But I think I'm going to be here tomorrow live. Just a footnote for everybody there as well. I don't think I'm going to go out of town. Okay, that said, I think I just made that decision right there. There's just too much happening and too much going on here. Of course, the big news, the big kahuna is at Infowars.com, and we'll cover this first when we get back. The Army has responded and has said that the Army did not intend that for public release and that indeed it is real, but that it should not be public. FM 3-3940. The re-education camp for the American people and your Social Security numbers and having your mouth gagged and political dissidents taken to the camp, slave labor. It's all in there. Of course, the PSYOPers, we could tell this was hardcore as soon as we published it after we confirmed it was real last week. It was authentic because they hit us within minutes. They were standing by to just say it wasn't real, just like NDAA to get people off balance so that we couldn't form a resistance to it, and then to put the idea that it wasn't real. So later as it came out to be real, that people would say, oh, but it isn't real. Kind of like people say, oh, Bush wasn't for the assault weapons ban, even though he was. Or Obama's against the NDAA, even though he signed it. So, Army admits re-education camp manual, not intended for public release. We're going to break that down and a lot more straight ahead and a lot of election talk. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. on this Wednesday, 9th day of May 2012. We're going to look at the evidence of preparation for civil war in the United States coming up in the second hour with Doug Hagmann. He's the founder and director of the Northeast Intelligence Network. And he's got a lot of very interesting intelligence that dovetails with our research. So he's going to be joining us coming up in the second hour for his maiden visit with InfoWars at Infowars.com. Let me just go over some of the headlines here. Congressional Democrats introduce amendment to outlaw self-defense. That's what it is. They're saying if somebody's charging you, you've got to try to run away instead of dropping to one knee and pumping rounds into their chest if they're charging you with a gun or a meat cleaver. And that's basically, the stand the ground laws only state what was already on common law books. But the police were brainwashed that wasn't the case, so they had to pass other laws. Just like TSA isn't legally, lawfully allowed to stick their hands down your pants especially, but even on the outside. State and federal courts have said, no, that's sexual assault. But Texas just didn't order the state police and others and local police to enforce the law. They said, we'll pass a unanimous law pointing out the other law that this is illegal. And the Fed said, we'll blockade your state militarily. Texas said, all right, our daughters and sons are yours. Start groping. The pedophiles went and got jobs and said, that's more like it, scum. And we said, yes, sir, boss. And they said, all right, get in the radiation baster as well. Because they also grope you after the radiation baster in most cases. And there's more arrest of TSA for pedophilia and crimes coming out this week. I mean, that's just how they are. And that's the kind of folks want to do that. Who wants that job? But side issue, congressional Democrats have introduced amendment to outlaw self-defense. And no sooner had they done that, there was a big backlash going, wow, you people are anti-gun, that they're now claiming that they're going to withdraw it. That's out of the Washington Post today. But here's the Infowars.com story. Congressional Democrats introduced amendment to outlaw self-defense. If you want to see what they're pushing and the type of plans they have for the American people. And, of course, that'll be like England. Paul Watson has an article on this we'll go over in detail later. UK bans self-defense expert from entering the country. Just like I was banned from entering Canada until all the media showed up at Bilderberg in 06, and then they released me, but said, watch it. They just said, hey, you don't teach self-defense in England. That's basically illegal. There's no law, but the bureaucrats are king because they're a criminal class. And they want to billy club you and taser you and beat you like at the G20 a few years ago and kill a guy delivering newspapers to a store that was in the area. He didn't do anything. It all came out on video. They just beat him to death for fun. You're not allowed to defend yourself because, well, the state is God. And so self-defense expert and former U.S. Navy SEAL Tim Larkin got some good techniques there. Those always just came to me as common sense. From entering the country after Larkin planned to hold seminars instructing people how to protect themselves against rioters and criminals. You don't do that. In fact, I saw footage, we all saw it in England, where people would be attacked by giant third world hordes that came from very rough countries, and they know how to attack people. And the average Brit, even with their wife or children, would just lay there and take it. Wow. And, of course, historically, the Brits were not known for that. They're not being particularly savage and vicious. But this is total and absolute complete domestication. And the police do it as well. The military feeds on them. And it's just an absolutely cowed, cowardly, pathetic group of jellyfish, just like Americans are becoming. I saw, I've told you the cases, a lady's choking in a restaurant. I come out of the bathroom. My wife's there with my son. This is like 9 years ago. And the people started trying to stop me from doing the Heimlich. They just kept chirping, 911, we called 911, 911, 911, like it was their God. 911, 911. No, 911. Are you trained? Are you? She'd have been dead. But you don't do that. And again, you can pull up the cases where they're trying to outlaw knives, even in your house. They're trying to, in England, they're saying you can't even defend yourself when assaulted. You defend yourself with your fist in your house. They throw a fake book at you. It's not even a law, and you end up going to jail. They call it assault. In England, if criminals hurt themselves in your house, that you sue, you get sued and get in trouble. That's starting to happen here. So this is the new thing here. So we're going to be going over that report in detail today as well, along with the attack on self-defense here in the United States, because the state wants the monopoly of the force, because they're the higher-level criminals, and they love their little friends, the low-level criminals. That's why they keep nonviolent people and marijuana offenders packing the prisons longer in many cases than armed robbers and aggravated assaulters, because it's important to keep them out there terrorizing the public so they beg for more police state. And even if the police do bust the criminals, they just get released, the violent offenders. So that's how this system works. We're also going to get into video. CIA catches itself in new underwear bomber plot. And I was watching ABC News this morning, and they have all the reporters with fake satisfaction, just like they won the lottery, sitting there telegraphing it to the audience going, this is a stunning coup for Obama. Incredible precision. This intelligence coup keeping us safe is just unbelievable. And they all get this satisfied look, and they cut back to Stephanopoulos, and they're just like, oh, this is so incredible how they keep us safe. And it's so fake. I mean, think about it. When you're unconscious, people get into this and get into the condescending attitude. I was in a restaurant this morning, and they had it on. And I was watching the waitress, and I was watching the men in there, some construction workers. They were going, yeah, good. Oh, because they had it turned up, and everybody was standing around feeling a lot of pride right now. We got them. Oh, yeah. We got the crusty underwear bomb. Oh, it was a CIA double agent. Wow, man, we are good. Talk about pride. Hey, Bob, did you hear about them paying $20+ billion our tax money to ship the Cadillac and Volt factories to China and Brazil? Yeah, boy, we're winning. Hey, did you hear the cancer rates are exploding? They put cancer viruses in the vaccines and take all the minerals out of the food. No, I don't know about that. I just know you turn on ABC News, and they're just up there going, just everybody smiling, almost high-five. And it was like ESPN covering, the sudden death overtime NFL game, and your team just won. You know there's going to be some American flags made in China by slaves hanging out at the houses today. They're going to dust that little puppy off and get it out there and just, look, tell you I'm feeling good right now. Because some enemies of this country got up there on TV and read off a teleprompter and acted all satisfied. It's all this fake pride garbage. I mean, and it's a total and complete mirage. And I'm going to cover that first after I cover our top story. Since last Wednesday, we have been beating the drum fierce over an Army manual that we confirmed from our sources was real and that was posted on the big public gov site that vets the documents, the leaked documents, and posts them. And sure enough, the Army has now responded. We have those communiques posted at Infowars.com, the actual email if you scroll down to the bottom of the article. Army admits re-education camp manual not intended for public release. But then they run a customary PSYOP on you and say, but this is for overseas, the re-education camps. Really? I'm not for the criminals that run our government running re-education camps. I thought that's what the North Koreans do. Even overseas, this is pure evil. And they admit, what do they do in these? In fact, John, will you go grab me last night's news stack off the broadcast desk where I left it? Because I want to show them that London Guardian article and others where they admit at these Al-Qaeda bases, at these training bases, fantastic, at these training bases, again, I have a Freudian slip there, at the Al-Qaeda prison camps where the U.S. doesn't exist anymore, banker occupied, are operating. These internment camps for so-called Al-Qaeda and Taliban are actually training grounds to produce the new Al-Qaeda leadership, to release them to